be so stimulating in visual capacity that, you know, you can literally turn the sound off and just be engaged by looking at it.
I think everything to him is specific. It's the microcosm of it all. It's the moments that make the whole picture.
He's a walking sort of collective unconscious of mainstream pop ideas. It's so fluid, he can jump from the 70s to the 30s to the 50s and back into the present, all in the space of a few seconds.
I'm just a huge fan of movies, you know what I mean? I have sort of an MTV upbringing, and I got involved in music videos when I was just getting started as a director. And people always tend to think it's sort of flashy editing, this, that, the other, but the films that most influenced me are everything from, you know, the great Alfred Hitchcock to The Graduate to the David Lean films.
Yo requested a piece of paper so we can.
Yeah, fine.
McG works with a storyboard artist, Adolfo Martinez. He's brilliant, and he's fast and prolific, and he's really inside McG's head.
If every frame isn't special, then why are we doing it? Let's strike it and let's reconfigure it and let's get back to work on it so we can figure out how to make it a little more special and have a little more fun with it.
Cut! You guys are kicking ass! God, you make the little things come alive!
Everything's the best shot.
Isn't that a great frame? Awesome! That's perfect. This is my favorite scene in the movie.
And you know what? He's right. He's right, I guess he's right, because you look at the monitor and for that minute, right there and then, you feel like that's the best thing I ever did.
You can wait that part, that's exciting.
I like scope, that's my David Lean influence. I like extremely tight macro of an eyeball. I like doing stuff that's very wide and panoramic and picturesque.
McG is all about selling that pushing, that sweep. That moment where something is revealed. I mean, there's 6,000 reveals all over this movie. Everyone gets this great entrance.
What the director of photography does is he helps you feel the menace of a person.
What's the law, Charlie?
When we first see Seamus in the ship's hull scene, most of the light is coming from the top.
We've only been here 5 minutes.
Justin Throttle had done this incredible job of working out in heat. He had a washboard rib cage.
You know I always like you with the light on.
Photography is very important to me. I was a still photographer growing up. I worked very closely with Russell Carpenter. We take so much pride on a shot-by-shot basis.
What I love about each of the angels is that they've got a face that's as distinctive as their personalities. One of the 18 angels, they're beautiful women and they're a joy to shoot, but when you get them all together, you have to decide. I know the camera looks good with this kind of lighting, Drew looks good with this kind of lighting, Lucy looks good with this kind of lighting. And when they're all sitting beside each other on the couch, it makes it a little tough. You just try, of course, to make the decision that's going to flatter everybody. Somebody can move their face an inch to the left and it becomes completely different lighting, so you're there behind the camera and you're asking,
Lucy, if you can slide forward Drew a little bit. And then...
oh, Drew, would you turn your head this way a little bit, or camera, would you turn your head this way a little bit? And it just becomes a game of inches. You just try to make the decision that's going to flatter everybody.
Oh, and the outfits.
One of the challenges in the designing of the clothes this time around was to give it a fresh look and still be faithful to what we call sort of the essence of angels. I switched the palette slightly. I used a lot of red, white, and black in this version, and then do pops of color in certain sequences, like the motocross sequence, which really would dictate that there's a lot of color involved. I took what the sport offers, and in terms of our angels, tried to do the angel version of it, and we sculpted breastplates that are used actually as protection in the sport, but I gave them a bit more feminine twist and try to heighten the reality of it.
Every day you get to come in and you have a different wig, a different look. For most movies, you really can't do that. I mean, you'd have to make it more realistic, and for this one, it doesn't really matter that you're running and jumping off of a cliff and you've got high heels on and stilettos.
And cut!
Charlie's Angels has always been designed to be, one of our mantras is a love letter to the city of Los Angeles. So we're always trying to take advantage of, historically significant locations.
Like G, who spent several years doing commercials at kind of the pop locations around town, so there was kind of a whole idea of what they wanted to use.
Every location has to matter. Everything has to be a landmark. Everything has to have historical significance in the interest of bringing some historical weight to Los Angeles. I love the idea of, paying tribute to films of yesteryear, and naturally I'm very influenced by Rebel Without a Cause, and so the prospect of shooting up there was exciting, and plus it's got that architectural quality. It's very bold, and it's got an angelic quality, and then it looks over the city of angels, of course, Los Angeles, and seems to satisfy everything that we were interested in.
To get those iconographic images in there and put some of these scenes in some really extraordinary places, I think served us well.
It's tough to find, but if you dig a little deeper, you find the LA Theater, you find the great Latin residences, you find extraordinary beaches that feel like only the west coast of North America. We very rarely go to the same place twice, and it's constantly moving.
What's the thing done? No, what's the thing done?
G really pulls from all sorts of resources, and then again putting a totally contemporary spin on it. I mean, it goes through his brain, comes out the other one as something very fresh.
Action!
He can go so far out into the realm of the almost patently absurd, and yet just a few minutes later he can have you really caring about what happens to one of the characters.
The balance comes from, you have a scene where they get their hands dirty and they fight, and then the next scene they're undercover doing something funny and sexy and ultra intelligent. Yes, there's comedy, yes, there's action, yes, there's beauty, yes, there's stimulation. But in the end, we want it to be its own animal.
Alrighty, thank you guys. Thanks for a lovely day. Thanks for your hard work. Enjoy the night. That's a wrap.